Hello girls and boys, I'm so glad you could join me today for another story from the Bible. And I've asked Rupert to join us today because Rupert has been such a lovely dog. He's been such a lovely friend to the other dog on the farm called Patch, haven't you, Rupert? And I think it's got something to do with this ball. Is that right, Rupert? And Rupert told me that what happened is that Patch had been playing with the ball and it had rolled down the hill and under a bush, and Patch couldn't find it. Well, Rupert went scampering around and he's found the ball, and he's now on his way to find Patch to give him back the ball. Patch will be so pleased, won't he? And that's really great, Rupert, that you have been such a nice, kind friend to Patch. And we're going to hear another story from the Bible today about friends. Remember last week we heard about David and Jonathan, who were wonderful friends to each other? But firstly, let us say goodbye to Patch, or rather to Rupert, I should say, as he goes to find his friend Patch to give him the ball. Bye-bye, Rupert. Bye-bye. Okay, well, today we're going to hear a story from the Bible which occurred quite a long time after the time of David and Jonathan. And it occurred at a time when a man called Elisha was a prophet or a man of God. And Elisha in our story today is going to be a very good friend to this lady. This lady had had a husband, but he had died. But before her husband died, her husband owed a lot of money to another man. And that man came to that lady and said, "You must pay me the money that your husband owes me." And the lady said, "I don't have any money. I cannot pay you." And the man had said, "Well then, you'll have to let me have your 2 boys, and they're going to come and work very hard for me for a long time to pay for that money." Oh, the lady didn't know what to do. She needed help. She needed a good friend. So she went to see Elisha. And she told Elisha her problem. And she told Elisha that her husband, as Elisha knew, had been a man who had loved God. And she said to Elisha, "I just don't have any money to pay this man, and I don't know what to do." Elisha said to the lady, "Well, is there anything in your house that you have?" And the lady said, "Well, I have a small jar of oil in my house, but that is the only valuable thing that I have." Elisha then said to the lady, "Go round to your neighbours and gather together all the empty jars that they have and bring them inside your house. Then go inside your house with your 2 boys, shut the door, and then pour oil from this small jar into all the other jars." So Elisha left the lady, and that's what the lady did. She went and gathered all these jars from her neighbours, and her boys helped too. And soon inside her house there were lots and lots of empty jars. She and the 2 boys were inside the house, and they shut the door just as Elisha had said. The lady then picked up this small jar of oil and poured the oil from here into this empty jar. It went gurgle, gurgle, splash. Can you say that? Gurgle, gurgle, splash. And the oil kept flowing, and this jar was full. And then it was gurgle, gurgle, splash into this jar. The oil just kept flowing and flowing. God was keeping the oil flowing from this jar. And on it went. All the jars were filled up from this smaller jar here. Gurgle, gurgle, splash. Gurgle, gurgle, splash. Gurgle, gurgle, splash, until all the jars in the house were filled with oil. And at that point, the jar stopped producing the oil. God had kept the oil flowing until all the jars were filled. The lady then went outside and found Elisha, and she told him what had happened. And Elisha said, "Well, go and sell all the oil that you now have, and you'll have enough money to pay that man. And you'll also have enough money over to buy food for yourself and your boys." And you see, in this story today, we see that Elisha was a friend to this lady. She went to him for help, and God let Elisha know how to help this lady. And Elisha knew that it was God who kept the oil flowing from this small jar into all those other jars. That's a wonderful story, isn't it? About how God provided for this lady, and also about the wonderful friendship that Elisha gave to this lady in a time of need. And I hope you think about that as you think about your friends during the week and how at different times you can perhaps help them when they need your help in times of their life. Until next time, I will say goodbye, children. Bye-bye.